What's up, Deadheads? It's Brian Castrillo back with a movie review, and this time I'm going back to my childhood. I'm a huge fan of this franchise. I love out except 2016, but love this movie. I just got Ghostbusters Afterlife, of course. I made sure I got all three of them. They've been in stores since February 1st. I was a little bit late to the scene. Wasn't able to get to the movie theaters, but love this movie. Of course, it's the director is Jason Reitman. He is the son of Ivan Reitman, who's also the producer in this movie. And of course, he goes back to the original. And what they did for this movie, for this franchise, for the fans, in my opinion, they brought the nostalgia with a good story, with good characters, and allowed a way to pass the torch so that we can create a new Ghostbusters universe with a possibility of new films while simultaneously paying homage to Harold Ramis and his character of Egon Spengler that in a way that 2016 failed miserably at. But absolutely love this movie. And the premise is that you got this single mom with two children who basically gets evicted, and she has to go out to a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and she inherits this house, it's her father's, and the grandfather of the two children, which we find out later, of course, is Egon Spengler, played by Harold Ramis, and they find a way to connect back to the old Ghostbusters while learning of the legacy of their grandfather, her father, and they've done an amazing job of it. And the mother is played by Carrie Coon, her name is Kaylee in the film. Of course plays Proxima Midnight in The Avengers. We also have Paul Rudd, an Avenger, who is Ant-Man, of course, there. But here he's Gruberson. He's a science teacher. We got the two children, which is Finn Wolfhard, who plays Trevor, and McKenna Grace, who plays Phoebe. And then we got this other kid who's Logan Kim, who plays a kid called Podcast. Absolutely love that character, but I'll get into him in a second. We got then Celeste O'Connor, who plays Lucky. And these four kids are eventually your Ghostbusters. Now, Logan Kim, who plays Podcast is probably my favorite character. He's quirky. He's just fun. He has his own podcast. He talks about the supernatural, scary stuff. And what's kind of cool is we find out later he has one subscriber, and that one subscriber is Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd, which I thought that was really cool. Kind of a little cool point in that. And probably right after that, I love Phoebe's character, who is the granddaughter of Egon Spengler. Her character is witty, she's smart, she's funny. A chip off the old block, just like her grandfather. I thought that was really cool. And what Jason Reitman and Ivan Reitman did for this franchise, did for this movie, was phenomenal. And goodness. Now, Paul Rudd, he unknowingly, he's a science teacher, and he knows about the Ghostbusters of the 80s, and he was a huge fan of it. He sees the equipment, he gets excited, and he unknowingly releases one of the ghosts that were, I believe it was Gozer, that was caught by Egon Spengler, and which creates this whole domino effect of all these Ghostbusters coming in, or ghosts that are coming out and create all these problems. And they first, and you learn, they're learning about their father's legacy and kind of what it meant to be a Ghostbuster, and his ties. We get to see old clips from back in the 80s of the old movies. I thought that was cool. And a lot of tie-in points, little Easter eggs that are in there. For example, like the Nestle Crunch bar that was in his old uniform, that goes back to when Peter Venkman gave him that Nestle Crunch bar. You got the little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, who, of course, not quite as big, but they kind of remind me of at least in the Walmart that they're in, which is where I got this movie. So I'm sure Walmart wants to I'm sure they paid a pretty penny, but it kind of reminded me of the Gremlins, like just the mischief and the craziness that ensues when they're in the stores, um, and of course they have to find, Gozer and Zool. They need to find the gatekeeper and the keymaster, which end up becoming Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon's characters, Kaylee and Gruberson. They're your new gatekeeper and keymaster. And the kids are learning. They're learning to catch this their first ghost, which is Muncher, which I guess is kind of the new Slimer. Although I kind of wish Slimer was back. Maybe we'll see him in a future one. But I really liked Muncher. I thought he was kind of funny. He was goofy, kind of badass at the same time. He can eat metal and then almost create what look like bullets, and he's just shooting them at you. Kind of scary, but also goofy, kind of like Slimer was. But so these children who are learning, the equipment, and learning what it means to be a Ghostbuster and what it meant for, Egon, what he did. Now, the first time we see the old one, it's going to be Ray Stantz, and that's because they end up getting arrested after shooting up the town trying to go after Muncher, and they get arrested, and then they use their one call to call Ray Stantz's character, who is in looks like a little antique store, which we find out that Winston Zedmore is actually paying the rent on it, but which I thought was kind of a little cool nod, but we'll come back to that. And we learned that the Ghostbusters were upset with him, just like Carrie Coon's character was upset, because basically to them, he abandoned them. He took all the equipment, kind of went off on his own. But what we find out is that he learned of what was going on in this, in the middle of nowhere, and how, these ghosts were building power, and he was doing what he could to basically keep them contained. And he did it with basically what the sacrifices he did to help his family and to help his friends. It was really cool. And I like when you go into he has like a little down underground office that he had, and equipped with a fireman's pole, of course. And it's almost like he has AI, or his ghost presence is there, which I believe more is what he was doing. But you see the light kind of following, and it shows Carrie Coon's character that he kept up, and he knew about his daughter, her, as she was growing up, and that he really did care for her. And these are some of the things we learned, that he wasn't like, this guy who basically said screw you to everybody else. But eventually it comes down to, they're all coming after the kids, and, Zool's coming, and then all of a sudden, here arrives Peter Venkman. Here arrives Winston Zedmore and Ray Stantz, played, of course, by Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson. And the opening moment that can be done none other than by Bill Murray, Peter Venkman, was absolutely fantastic. And hopefully we do see him again, which I do believe we will, because this movie, like I said, it sets up a perfect way. You created great characters with a great story, with a way of passing the torch in a way that opens the world for new Ghostbusters movies. We had, and also paying homage to not Peter Venkman, but Egon Spengler, of course, Harold Ramis. The fact that he was in this movie, of course, CGI was fantastic, kind of really emotional, and it helped connect back with his daughter, to help connect, with his grandchildren and the original Ghostbusters, as he was there helping them. And it was just a beautiful moment. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Get this movie. I mean, Walmart wants you to get it. They're even in the movie. But you have two post-credit scenes that were really cool. You see Peter Venkman, and you see Dana Barrett, who shows up. And, they're doing the card thing where he's reading. trying to guess what it is, and of course he marked it. Just a funny. It was kind of cool to see Sigourney Weaver back in this. Also, Annie Potts was back as Janine Melnitz. I thought that was cool. And then there's another post-credit scene where you have Winston Zedmore, and we learn that he ends up becoming, he's a businessman. He made a lot of money, and he had said that, he did that for his children. He did that for his family, but he will always be a Ghostbuster. That is always in him. And then you see, he apparently had bought the original firehouse back then. You see Ecto-1, it's coming in. He touches it, and he's kind of remembering back. You see the containment unit start blinking, as if, basically letting us, the fans, know that there will be more. The universe is expanding, possibly. Hopefully we get all three of them back again. But the way they set this up was perfect. I look forward to new movies. Absolutely chef's kiss to Jason and Ivan Reitman. Fantastic job. They're in New York now, of course, but I want to know what you guys thought. Now, I guess my only, if you want to, it's not really a criticism, it's just sort of a wish. Of course I wish Slimer was there because he's funny. And he is, to me, Ghostbusters as the original four are to Ghostbusters, but there's another character that I kind of wish was in there, and I am hoping, please, Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman, make this happen. And of course, to the actor, I hope you are coming into this next movie because your character was fantastic, but I want Rick Moranis back. I absolutely loved him in the Ghostbusters in the older movies, but of course he retired from movie making. He's made a couple things since his children are grown now, but I don't know that he's really back into acting. I mean, maybe you guys might know some, but I would love to see Rick Moranis in maybe a new movie, make an appearance, see what his character's up to. But what did you guys think? Did you like this? Did you like the callbacks to the older movies? Some of the old film, the Easter eggs that were, put in that movie. What were your complaints, if any? What did you love about the movie? Were you excited about this? Are you as excited for the future as I am? Let's talk about it. What did you think about it? I know I'm late to the game on watching this movie, but man, if you haven't gotten this, go to Walmart. You could probably get this any retail organization, but in the movie, Walmart's there, and of course they're paying their dollar for that. But go get that movie, check it out. Let me know what you think. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and come back and let me know. But love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you can get notifications so we can talk about this again. And yeah, love you guys.